Hello, I'm Sulva Curran from Live Naturally. Today I'm going to show you how to make a spelt bread. To make a bread you need 500 grams of flour, 350 milliliters of lukewarm water, a tablespoon of oil, a tablespoon of fresh yeast, a teaspoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. Some people think it's complicated to make a bread, but I'm going to show you just how easy it is. First I'm going to start by measuring up the flour. Here I have 3 different types of flour. One is white spelt flour, one is whole grain spelt flour, and one is one I was grinding just a minute ago. So this is absolutely the whole grain with everything in it. If I make a bread just using whole grain, it gets really heavy bread. So I'm going to do a mixture of different flour types. So I've got my 500 grams of flour and now I need the water. I use cold from the tap and hot from the kettle. 350 milliliters. Now I need a teaspoon of sugar and then a tablespoon of fresh yeast, and I'm going to mix them together. So here I'm mixing the yeast and the sugar. I need a teaspoon of salt. I usually use unrefined sea salt. There's loads of different types of salt you can use. And I mix it in with the flour. And now it's time to just put a little bit of the flour into a cup. Now I'm going to add the water, and I'm going to add the whole lot of water at the same time. Not a bit at a time, but all the water into the bowl, and then I'm going to mix. It just makes it much easier instead of mixing a little bit of water at a time. So then I'm mixing this round and round, and can you see it's turning into a bread dough? When I come to this stage where it's like a bit mixed, I'm going to add a spoon of oil. A spoon of oil and a bit more of the flour. And now comes the fun part, my hands are going to get dirty. Put a bit of flour on my hands and I mix, and now I can move it onto the table. And if you feel it's a bit too sticky, then you can add a bit more flour in onto the worktop and add your bread. And then you knead and you knead. And you knead it like this for probably around 5 minutes. And if you still feel it's too sticky, add a bit more flour, but don't add more and more flour so it gets completely stiff. Can you see it still needs to be soft? So some people add too much flour and then you get a hard bread. So if you feel it's sticky, like look now it looks really sticky, what's a good idea is to get all the stickiness off my hands. Get all the stickiness off my hands, put some flour on my hands, wash my hands with flour. And as soon as your hands are less sticky, then you can see the dough seems much less sticky. And then you knead it. It's still sticky, but not too sticky. So don't add too much flour. So now I've been kneading this like 100 times like this, and it's time to put it back in the bowl and leave it to rise. So now the breads have been resting for half an hour in a warm place. And now we need to knead them again and put them in the bread tin. And this bread here is made of only whole grains. The whole grain, and is a really brown bread. And I'm going to squeeze all the air out of it, put it into the bread tin and leave it for another half an hour. It is important to leave the bread to rise twice. That just makes it, because it makes it easy to digest. Because there's an acid in the wholemeal bread flour, and if it's not left for a long time together with water before it's cooked, is not so healthy for you. So let's just talk about bread tins. This is a big bread tin and it's very tall. And the good thing about it is the bread gets supported, and this bread tin here is very short, so when the bread rises up it can easily just fall on the side, and this one is better because it's tall. So if you want to buy a bread tin, buy a tall bread tin. We're going to leave it now for another half an hour and then see what's going to happen, and when it goes big all the way up here, we're going to put them in the oven. All the breads turned out good, but I prefer the middle one because the very brown one is quite full of fibre and hard to digest. The very white one doesn't have much fibre at all, so it's not so good for the digestive system. And the middle one, made of white flour and brown flour together, is the perfect bread.